Well, good morning once again.
Morning.
And this is now day 74 of our lejog. And like a lot of days, it's starting with a lot of climbing. Only this time, it's very long, very steep. We left Campbelltown about an hour and a quarter ago en route for Oikle Bridge via Loch Am Dam. Our route climbs for probably about another hour before it levels out a little and then climbs up to Loch Am Dam before a descent down into Oikle Bridge. So we've got about 18 miles to do, and the hard bit's all going to be at the front. So we're probably about halfway up this mountain pass now, at least I hope we are. And it's been a very tough start, especially after a rest day yesterday, in which we restocked our larder. We've got a particularly heavy pack on at the moment because we've got 4 days supply of food, because we're wild camping a lot now. Between now and the end, I think we've got three wild camping nights in a row coming up soon after leg. So this is a tough section. The high mountains aren't as big here, but they still look quite impressive. And the weather's quite damp and quite cool, so good weather for hiking, as opposed to what we've been having, the thunder and lightning and the heavy showers or the blisteringly hot sun. We've now got nice in the middle, which is perfect for hiking. So we're going to crack on up this path and see how far we get in the next hour before we have another break and have something to eat and drink. We're just approaching the summit of the first Bearlac mountain pass. We should start to drop down a little bit after this. We're quite high in the clouds now. There's a little bit of drizzle, but not too bad. I'll just turn the camera around. See, it's quite low cloud at the moment, and we are quite high. A little downhill stretch now, and then over the next Bearlac to Loch Am Dam. That's a few hours away yet. Walking's been a bit easier this last half hour. A decent track and not too steep. Should be okay. You hear a loud crash, it isn't okay. Definitely wobbly. Very wobbly. take much. Well, that's 74 coming to a close. 74th day in the bag, and only 7 more to go. So we're getting close and closer and closer. Not been a difficult day today, just quite a long day, probably about 18 miles by the time we finished. All the ascent was in the first 2 hours. That was very steep. After that, it's been an easy track to follow, but quite a rocky, stony one. It gets to your feet eventually. But the weather's been okay. Got a few little drizzles, nothing more than that. Had sunshine for about 10 minutes, and that was it really. So coming into Oikel Bridge, we're booked into the Bothy at the Oikel Bridge Hotel. We'll see what that's like. Hopefully get a good night's sleep and something to eat, and start the last week tomorrow. And again, morning. This is day 75. We've just worked out between the two of us on our lejog, and we're walking along the river Oikel, having just left Oikel Bridge, Bothy. Now, Bothy was rather nice for a Bothy. Lovely comfortable bed, and nice food as well. It's a really nice hotel, dominated mostly by people who were fishermen. The aristocracy fish here apparently. It's a beautiful part of the country. So we've left Oikel Bridge this morning, destination Leg, probably about 17 miles, and although this part of it is beautiful, it's split 50-50 really, because half of the day we're walking on a road into Leg at the end, so that's a bit of a down for today. But the first part and all this morning we're following this river, and it's just a beautiful area, so peaceful and tranquil. And we've noticed a very distinct change in the last couple of days. We've come out of the really high mountain areas of the Central Highlands, from Falls of Glomac, Glen Affric and those areas, to probably still mountainous but very low, more resembling North Yorkshire moors, the Pennines, that type of thing. A lot more rolling hills, but the weather seems to have picked back up again. Doesn't seem to be much threat of rain today. We're just enjoying this morning, seeing how far along this path we go before we have to join the road. We see another Indiana Jones bridge ahead, which we might have fun on again. First water stop of the day. A beautiful surround. Well, we're coming towards the end of day 75 now, heading towards lejog. Probably about another 30 minutes, 35-40 minutes to go. Been a day of two halves really, as far as scenery is concerned. Started off from Hoykel Bridge, and up till lunchtime we followed the River Hoykel, literally on its banks, and it was beautiful, very beautiful area that actually, the whole area. We then hit this road after a brief spell in a nice woodland, and we followed this road for about 7 miles, which on the face of it isn't very good, but we thought this was the main road between lejog and Hoykel Bridge, and it is the main road, but as it's a very rural area we only see a car every sort of 10-15 minutes, and as you can see it's a single track road with paths in places, so no buses, no lorries, no vans, and as it's not on the main tourist route, you get no camper vans, caravans, so it's not doing so bad actually. Nice scenic walk for the whole day. Probably going to be doing about 17 miles we think today, and this is our last B&B for a while because we have next 4 days we'll be through the wilderness, wild camping where we can. We have planned the route and planned roughly where we're going to be stopping, but we don't know exactly the campsites. Well, there isn't a campsite, it's wild camping, but we'll find something. So hopefully we can get to lejog before the rain gets here, because we can see some rather black clouds looming. I think we might need to put the accelerator down a little.